At the National Hospital for Neurology and Neurosurgery in London, David Thomas is part of an ambitious project where the systems designer will have his work cut out trying to anticipate everything. They're attempting to design a robot that will perform brain surgery. The project is called SARA, Surgery Assistant Robot Acting on the Head. At the moment, Mr. Thomas uses a technique called stereotactic surgery. Using a special frame fixed to the patient's head, he can pinpoint in 3 dimensions the position of lesions inside the brain. But the coordinates for this have to be calculated by the surgical team itself from CT scans. For David Thomas, the advantages of automation are clear.
The most exciting possibility, I believe, is that the robot might actually do operations or enable the surgeon to control operations which at the moment can't be done by conventional methods, specifically removing tumours of the brain much more extensively than we do at the moment by manual methods.
But converting Mr. Thomas's work and ideas into a specification for the software is an enormous task.
You must interview the user, and in this case the user is the brain surgeon himself. And you write down in a way that both you can understand and people who will come on later and do the programming can understand, but also in a way that the surgeon himself can understand. The ordinary English language can be ambiguous, and it's the job of the analyst to take the ordinary English language of the surgeon and translate it into a more formal form, which he can then feed back to the surgeon.
Once you put the biopsy needle or the electrode into the brain itself, you have a feeling of touch. Now, I imagine a machine would detect this sort of thing in different ways. In other words, a machine might be measuring temperature, might be measuring pulsatility of blood flow in order to try and pick up blood vessels and avoid them in different ways from the way the human surgeon does it.
Software doesn't wear out. It will always do the same thing under the same conditions. The issue is whether it is correct, and it may not be correct. It may fail under circumstances which have not been taken into account.
Well, I think to specify the unexpected for the robot is quite difficult. That is, the number of unexpected events like bleeding or sudden collapse of the patient and so on are very, very rare events, fortunately. To tell the robot how to recognize them is even more difficult than to tell the robot how to do a routine, uneventful operation. And I'm sure that for the present and for the foreseeable future that there will have to be manual control, manual override for all the stages of the operation in which the robot's engaged.
The trouble is, no authority has laid down any reliability guidelines for SARA.
We are at the moment asking advice from various statutory bodies such that we know where the aim is. We know at what point a system will be reliable enough, will be safe enough.
We do have certain data already about risks of neurosurgical procedures. Some procedures in neurosurgery carry a 5%, 10% chance of death as done in the standard way, so that if one feeds into this equation a little bit of extra risk from the computer getting it wrong, if the risks are down at a level of 1 in 5,000, 1 in 10,000 of some error creeping into the operation of the robot or the computer, that might be an acceptable level within a neurosurgical context.